Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8 o'clock spot on the Gryd Network. I would say I'm Bryson Carver, but I think I think I'm somebody else right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alfred Parsard Jr. I'm taking over for Bryson Carver. It's a new era of the 8 o'clock spot here on the Gryd Network. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, who is tuning in wherever you may be. Let me introduce you to today's participants. It's a versus of the 8 o'clock spot. First up, we got my man Arthur Hurst.
What's going on, y'all? Nothing, can't complain about too much. Hoping to see my Buckeyes win the national championship next Monday, but life is all good.
Oh, okay. Looking for that Big Ten victory. And then we got Paris in the house. Paris, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? I'm rooting for his Buckeyes. I think his team's winning, but right now I got the Pacers. We haven't lost since the new year started, so I'm feeling good right now with the Pacers.
Shout outs to Tyrese Halliburton and crew. All right. So before we get into the show today, here is the all-time leaderboard. Of course, our guy Arthur Hurst, the all-time leader in 8 o'clock spot points with 196. And Paris Brown, third all-time at 80, trying to climb over Mike Guido. It's a shame that I won't be able to move off of 8th. I might slide down all-time after that. The rules for 8 o'clock spot are as follows. Best take gets 5 points. Second best take gets 3 points. We don't have a third contestant, so nobody will be awarded 1 point. And now for our first topic. This past weekend, we had 6 NFL wild card weekend games in the NFL playoffs. Some were shockers and some results were foregone. The Texans, the Ravens, the Bills, the Eagles, the Commanders, and the Rams all advanced to the next round of the NFL playoffs. So I got to ask you, gentlemen, and I'll start with you first, Arthur. What of wild card weekend stood out to you the most, and what showed you the most out of those 6 teams that advanced? Anything stick out to you, or do you think none of those 6 teams are true contenders?
It shows me that preparation and culture go hand in hand. The fact that out of 6 games, and all these teams were good throughout the NFL season. The Chargers, first year with with Harbaugh, with Jim Harbaugh, but I mean they were still a pretty good team, and I thought they were going to be able to make this more of a game. Same thing with the Packers, the Vikings. I was really hoping with Sam Darnold going into his first playoff game, they would be able to make more of a stand, but preparation matters, man. Preparation matters, and all of these teams have pretty good defenses. Some of them in the top 10, some of them in the top 5, whether it's passing, whether it's rushing, like the Steelers. Top 10 rushing defense, but for some reason they weren't ready for the Baltimore Ravens running game, which is understandable because if you look at past playoff games that the Baltimore Ravens have played in, they don't run the ball. They try to make Lamar Jackson do a little bit of everything, but especially passing the ball and not sticking to their strong suit. The Packers, I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but Saquon Barkley exists, and this team revolves around him, and even though he didn't get that rushing touchdown, like everybody would have loved him to, there are still other weapons that you have to worry about, not just him. The Vikings, the defense wasn't ready. Sam Darnold was not ready. The Broncos, first year quarterback, he's easily the future. I believe they will be fine. But that also goes to culture. The Steelers' culture. No reason why George Pickens is coming in late Christmas Day against the Chiefs and other times. There's no reason why Tucker Kraft, second-year tight end, is saying, we knew this was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. We need to wake up. The Chargers get grace because, again, Jim Harbaugh, first year as a head coach there, but they will be perfectly fine. There's no reason why the Commanders and the Buccaneers were the only game that was close. The Vikings, I hope they bring back Sam Darnold because you can see the culture is starting to – the culture, the foundation has been set with Sam Darnold as the starter quarterback of the Vikings. So preparation and culture, they go hand in hand. One doesn't play a factor without the other. And you can see in the domination of these games who has it and who doesn't.
Yeah, fair enough. Paris, what's your take? Anything stood out to you, surprised you? Did any game results surprise you? What did you learn from this wild card weekend?
So there's a lot of surprising things for me in general. I mean, I didn't expect the Texans to blow out the Chargers. I thought the Chargers were going to win that. But again, the Chargers are just missing another wide receiver. That's what they really need. If they get one more wide receiver on that team is set to win. Like, that team could win a division. That team is really there. The coach is already there. The Vikings got outplayed by the Rams. I'm surprised, but at the same time, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, they've been in the situation. They've been to a Super Bowl. They know how to play. And I mean, they blitzed Sam Darnold. They didn't blitz all season. The Vikings really couldn't be prepared for them to blitz their entire team when the Rams never blitzed all season. So that's great play. As we went, great game plan. But for me, the Buccaneers losing to the Commanders after last year, they barely lost to the Lions. The Lions so close to the Super Bowl, lose to the 49ers. They go in this year, beating the Lions in the regular season, and then lose to a rookie QB in the first round. That arises a lot of questions for me with the Buccaneers. Somebody might have to go soon, either if it's a coach or if it's Baker Mayfield. And I like Baker Mayfield. He's proved himself very well on that team. But right now, it does seem like they're winning playoff games. They shouldn't have lost to the Commanders. I expected them to make a deep run and them to be bounced out in the first round by a rookie QB. And there's no disrespect to Jaden Daniels. I loved him. He's a great player. Definitely rookie of the year this year. But to lose to the Lions last year and then going to the playoffs after having the experience last year and losing to a rookie, that arises a lot of questions for me with the Buccaneers.
Okay, and very valid points on both sides. I gotta agree that both of you guys made some very valid points, but I'm gonna have to give the most points in this particular round to Mr. Paris Brown with 5 points. I like how you said that the two things you said that stood out. Number one, the Chargers, outside, they don't have any wide receivers. If Quentin Johnston is your best wide receiver, something is awfully wrong. On top of that, the Buccaneers, yes, it's like deja vu. They go to the playoffs, close game in the first round, and just can't get past it. And something just needs to change. Arthur, solid take though, 3 points. I can't disagree with anything that either of you guys said, but I can't give both of you 5. So, all right, let's see. Moving on to the second question. This one a bit interesting. As you guys know, the Dallas Cowboys moved on from Mike McCarthy and showed him the door, and they contacted Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Deion tweeted out over the weekend, however, that he was touched that Jerry considered him for the Cowboys head coaching job, but he cited the student body and the community over at Colorado, but did not say yes and did not say no in that tweet. So I got to ask you guys, and I'll start with Paris first. Do you think Deion should take the job? Why or why not?
It's tough. It's tough because it is the Cowboys. Because it's the Cowboys and it's Jerry Jones. If it wasn't for Jerry Jones himself, I honestly think the Cowboys coaching position would be a very nice spot to go. A lot of people like to talk bad on the Cowboys. I love the jokes. I love people making fun of the Cowboys. But the team, to me, isn't terrible, okay? They have pieces. They had a bad injury year this year as well. I mean, everybody talked about the 49ers dealing with injuries left and right. The Cowboys dealt with it left and right this year, too. And we saw when they at least got Micah Parsons back, their defense was much better than what it was without him. So they had a rough year because of injuries. But what you have to do with Jerry Jones, it's hard to be a coach there. And it's also hard to get players to come there. But if you're Deion Sanders, players are going to come play for you because your name is Deion Sanders. And that's one way. One reason I think Jerry Jones probably reached out to him. One, obviously, is already that Dallas connection he has. But two, his name's kind of already out there. You don't want to play for Jerry Jones, but you want to play for Deion Sanders. And if I'm Deion, I don't see why you don't take it. He coached with his kids all the way through college. He could continue to do it. He's shown he can be a good college coach, but his kids are going to the NFL. Even if he isn't able to coach his kids to go to the NFL, and basically, again, his kids are in there. He's able to coach the NFL. I feel like he's the one person that could deal with Jerry Jones and coach a team. It takes a certain person to be able to do that. It takes a person that wants the spotlight of Dallas, and there's no person who wants the spotlight more than Deion Sanders.
Okay. Arthur, what's your opinion on should Coach Prime Should he take that job or should he stay at Colorado?
I would love for Deion to stay at Colorado, especially with the number one quarterback that they just have come in. I don't think he will. We already saw that he left Jackson State after saying what he intended to do there, and he did, but it was in a very short amount of time. He left Jackson State to go to Colorado. He did what he said he wanted to do. He didn't win, but still, it was all in a very short amount of time. If he goes to the Cowboys, I would not be mad at it. Should he take it? I believe so, but I'm on the other side of Paris. I believe he and Jerry will be just fine. I think that, again, he, like Paris said, he has a Dallas connection. He already won with the Cowboys. He's very beloved. His name is football. You know what I'm saying? Football is him and Deion is football. Like, his name is just more than just, he's an icon, right? And like Paris said, guys want to come play for him, but I think that the Cowboys definitely need somebody like him. They need a player. They need somebody who played for that organization, who played in the NFL at that head realm, who not only they respect, but anything you try to bring to the table that you think will be able to get off, you're not going to be able to get off of him. He has a no-nonsense policy. He's not going to let you just run over him. And if you think that you're going to be able to run over him, he's going to show you, I can play this game too. We can both do this. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to win. You're not going to be able to beat me playing these games. Yeah, man, I think, and again, I think him and Jerry will be fine. I think Jerry will give him the respect he deserves as a fellow Cowboy, as a fellow Hall of Famer, to just stay out of the way. Let me do my job. Let me do what I do. But also, I need you to give me the pieces I need to win a championship, to win a Super Bowl. And I believe they have that right now. They just needed a different voice. They needed someone that they respect. And just to turn this whole thing around, because this is a really good team, in my opinion, when healthy. They just, for some reason, could not get it done under Mike McCarthy. So hopefully under Deion will be able to take them to that next level. Because, when you look good, you play good, and you feel good, man.
Okay. And see, I'm on the fence. I don't think he should take it, only because in my opinion, when you put out a tweet and you cite the community and the student body as in your tweet, that tells me that you have them in mind. That means that you're telling me that you still have to serve those people, so your job there is not done yet. And we also got to remember, Coach Prime, he only has experience coaching kids. It's a whole different atmosphere in the NFL when you're coaching grown men. You could get away with discipline in the NCAA, but that, depending on who you got on your roster in the NFL, that may not fly. But all right, so we go to the point totals. I'm going to give Paris another 5 points, only because, Arthur, I do agree with everything you said, but when I asked, should he or should he not take the job, you said you don't think he should, but your argument geared towards reasons why he should. So we're going to go ahead and give you the 6.
Oh, no, I see what you did there. No, I definitely said he should. You
kind of sounded conflicted on your answer there.
Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna be conflicted, but no, I said he should. But it's so cool. It's cool.
Yeah, Paris sounded more concrete in his reasoning. All right, moving on. We got some baseball talk, even though it's the off season. Amongst Major League Baseball free agents, Pete Alonso is the only big name offensively who is still unsigned. For those of you following, he was offered an extension before last season started for 7 years, and now the offer is down to 3 years. Of course, he is a Scott Boras guy, and for anybody who pays attention in baseball, Scott Boras' clients as of lately, Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger, amongst them all, have not been getting the contracts that Boras has demanded that they get. So I'll start with you, Arthur. Number one, should Pete Alonso get the deal he's seeking? And number two of this question, is Scott Boras hurting his guys' stock?
Man, it's so funny because that second one, I think plays a key into the first one. Pete Alonso, great player. I think your agent who represents you, I think your representation matters. And I think that if your agent gets in the way, that can be a bit of a problem. But that also, you got to rely on your agent to get you those deals. Man, yeah. That's a tough one for me. Because I don't look at the player. Yes, you go into that. Yes, you go into those deals demanding whatever you want. And I get it, especially if you believe you are of a certain ilk. If you believe that you are of a certain status and level in the league, I get all that. But at the end of the day, the top dog has those meetings with your agent. If your agent for some reason gets in the middle of that, and if he's going, I don't want to say going against, but if he's causing at least problems or frustration between management and you, even though you're not particularly involved in that aspect, that's a problem for me. And that's when you look like, okay, do I still want this guy as my agent? There's no reason why you have all these players having trouble. And the common denominator seems to be you. I'm not looking at the players in all this, despite whatever deal they want. I want these players to go and get their money. That's not my concern. My concern is the common denominator of Scott Boras, for some reason, making these general managers, making management and the front office feel like, you know what, I don't want to give your player this deal, or I don't want to give him a deal that he believes he earned or deserves. So I'm looking at Scott Boras and saying you got to do a better job in representing your players if you want to continue, even representing these guys. Because if I'm these guys, I'm looking, listen, if you don't do what you need to do for me, I got to cut you loose. I got to let you go. Again, there's no reason why my peers are having the same trouble that I am. So, yeah, part 2, in my opinion, plays a whole lot more of a role in part 1, because if part 2 is a problem, it doesn't matter what deal Pete Alonso asks for. He's not going to get it if Scott Boras is still messing everything up as the middleman.
Fair enough. Paris, what's your opinion? Does Pete deserve the deal that he's seeking? And is Scott Boras messing up things for his clients repeatedly?
Does Pete Alonso deserve the contract? Yes. I mean, 3 years for $90 million. He wants $30 million a year. Yeah, he deserves it. He's had, last year was his worst year, and people want to say, oh, he was struggling in clutch moments. You know what got the Mets so far? Pete Alonso hitting a home run in a clutch moment against the Brewers. So yes, okay, he didn't succeed in every clutch moment, but still in the biggest moment, he came through. He's been the Mets team. Yes, they have Francisco Lindor over there now. And honestly, people are going to gravitate to Lindor more just because of the character he is. But Alonso's a very good first baseman. And I don't think he's really messing up contracts. When you have so many high-value players, at some point, 1 or 2 of them isn't going to go through. But what, media likes to do, once 1 or 2 doesn't go through, everybody's going to highlight the negatives and not look at the positives. Yes, did Bellinger's contract not go as what they wanted to? Yes. But he also has Juan Soto. Juan Soto just broke the bank with the money he wants. He also has Corbin Burns, and Corbin Burns just went and signed with the Diamondbacks, his hometown, a team that's known to not give big money to pitchers and who has messed up trying to give money to pitchers. The pitchers have, flopped. So they're going to be less wanting to give money to a pitcher. They got him a deal. So again, it's kind of, you're going to give it, so every now and then it's not going to hit. But Pete Alonso deserves it. His other guy, Alex Bregman, at first and third base, those are the 2 biggest players in the position right now, Bregman and Pete Alonso. And he's going there knowing, listen, there's no better player at that position than Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman. So if you want him, you're gonna have to give him at least to close to what he's asking for, because you're not gonna get a better player than him right now. So is he aggressive with it? I would say he is aggressive with it, but he knows the type of players he has, and he's not gonna really settle for less for his players.
You guys make 2 compelling arguments. For me, I think I got to go ahead and agree with Arthur, and I'm going to give Arthur the 5 points because Arthur said something that stood out. At some point, you got to look at the common denominator, which is the agent. Reason why I say that is because if you look at going back to last season was like Scott Boras's breakout party as an agent. It should have been. He had Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, and Jordan Montgomery as the top 4 free agents of the offseason. And if you guys remember, Snell and Montgomery didn't get signed until a couple of weeks after the season started, and all 4 of them had down years. So I do agree with Paris about Pete should get the contract because the Mets don't get out of the playoffs. They were down by 2 runs to Milwaukee in an elimination game. He doesn't hit that home run, the season's over. So I get that, but can you really reward a man for just one clutch moment when, I mean, yes, he showed up when it matters, but at the same time, it's like, what did you do all year? But I'm going to go ahead and give Paris the 3 points, but Paris is still our leader. He's leading 13-11 right now over Arthur. Final round coming up. These are the rules. Best take gets 10 points. There is no points for anything other than the best take, which leads me to this. All right, children, for those of you who will need to do your homework, Jim Plunkett, 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback with the then Oakland Raiders in the 1980s. He won Super Bowl 15 and 18, is on the ballot from the senior committee. Yes, they do call it the seniors committee. He's up on a special ballot for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A lot of people have gone online, Keyshawn Johnson and TJ Houshmandzadeh notably, saying that no, the man should not be in the Hall of Fame. However, there are people who are arguing that yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame. We'll start with you, Paris. What do you say? If you had the chance to vote him in and what you said goes, yes or no for Mr. Plunkett?
If my vote was the final vote, if he gets in or not, I'm saying no, this man's not getting in. And yes, he has won 2 Super Bowls. He's won 2 Super Bowls. And the big question comes: every other QB that has won 2 Super Bowls is in the Hall of Fame. But no matter what it is, there's always that one outlier. No matter what sport, no matter what it is, there's always that one person, that one thing that there's an outlier. And the reason I say he doesn't deserve it, he had 3 good years. He had 3 main years. He won Rookie of the Year, his first year he was in there, and then he won his 2 Super Bowls. So is he a bad player? No, he's not a bad player, but 3 years doesn't define a career. You know, if you have 3 good years and the rest of the years you're average to below average, that's not a Hall of Fame. You just had, you had 3 good years. You're a good QB. People are going to remember you, but you're not a Hall of Famer. I mean, everybody remembers Nick Foles. He went in, took over Carson Wentz, won a Super Bowl, beat Tom Brady. Nobody's about to say Nick Foles needs to be in the Super Bowl. I mean, be in the Hall of Fame. So it's about your career in total. He had 3 good years. Everybody, my big thing is the other QB that's won 2 Super Bowls that's not in it yet is Eli Manning. And Eli Manning is just so much better than him. He has won 2 Super Bowls. He was the MVP in both of the Super Bowls. Jim Plunkett wasn't even the MVP, was only MVP one of his Super Bowls. And then Eli Manning has also 4 Pro Bowls. So even the years he wasn't in the Super Bowl, the team wasn't good, he was doing his thing. Other than those 2 years he won the Super Bowl, Plunkett wasn't doing his thing. So my final vote, no, this man does not get in it. He has his moment. He's known. He won his 2 Super Bowls, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Okay, fair enough. Arthur, your opinion, if you had the final vote on whether the man gets in or not, you saying yes or you saying no?
I'm saying no. And I think it's unfair to Eli Manning that comparison even got brought up. Paris already gave you the accomplishments of them both, so I'm not going to go off of that. But again, I think that is unfair when you have. I just watched a video not that long after you had said something about it, Alfred. And when you think about the quarterbacks that played in the era of Eli Manning that you would consider top 5, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, man, who else? There were plenty of them. Donovan McNabb at a point. Like, you have so many guys at his competition where it was just like, dang, like he can't catch a break. But it does not matter because he still showed up for his team. All-time passing yards leader for the Giants. All-time passing touchdowns leader for the Giants. Jim Plunkett, great for a time. Not great of a career enough, in my opinion, to be in the Hall of Fame. 50% winning percentage, 164 touchdowns to 198 interceptions. Those just aren't, good numbers that you would put in, for the Hall of Fame. And when you think about guys that are in there at the quarterback position. My thing for this also is you got to take it from the player's perspective. If I'm a player and I know what I did got me in the Hall of Fame, there's no way I can look at a peer of mine who did not do anything close to what I did, whether it's Super Bowls MVPs, Pro Bowls, regular season MVPs, um, um, all defense, all pro, all those stuff. There's no way that you can put him next to me. And that's literally what we're talking about in these situations, is putting people, you're putting people in this Hall of Fame next to somebody who might have even greater numbers, greater whatever than them, that they can't compare. So when you got somebody like Deion Sanders who comes out a few years ago and says, some of these guys should not be in the Hall of Fame. That's coming from one of the greatest players of all time, one of the GOATs of this league, saying there are guys, whether it's at my position or just played in this league and I consider my peer, that didn't do a fraction of what I did in this league, whether it's impact on winning, whether it's impact on the NFL or whatever. You didn't do close to what I did. So why do you have a bust next to me? Why do you have a bust in general? There's no reason why you should. So all respect to Jim Plunkett, but again, comparing him to Eli Manning, completely unfair to Eli Manning, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Jim Plunkett, though, I'm sorry, just doesn't have it. When you look at the rest of those quarterbacks in there, especially the other 12 that have won 2 or more Super Bowls, I'm sorry. It's unfair to them. Not to him, but it's unfair to those other 12. And it's going to be unfair to a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's going to get in as well.
Okay, and that was very well said. And Plunkett stands out for several things. He's already in one Hall of Fame. He's in the College Hall of Fame. He's a former Heisman winner, first overall pick. So his college career was solid. But again, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And unlike the other 12 guys who have won at least 2 Super Bowls and have all gotten in, Plunkett never made a Pro Bowl and was never on an All-Pro team. So that is a valid argument there. How he got selected for the senior committee, no clue beyond me. But I mean, unlike baseball, where you fall off the ballot after X amount of years and not getting in, the NFL doesn't have that. It's a lifetime Hall of Fame ballot, so he might be on the ballot forever. Who knows? But we've got some comments here. Our guy Clint Alexander, Eli, definitely a Hall of Famer, which I definitely do agree with. And Arthur, you brought up a great point. It's interesting that you bring up Eli Manning, all-time Giants pass yards leader. People don't realize the Giants have been around since the early 1900s. They were one of the original NFL franchises. So to have a record like that speaks volumes. But we have come to the end of the show, and somebody's got to win. And the winner, if we can cue the music, ladies and gentlemen, did the music play? I guess it did. However, it didn't, okay, technical difficulties. But the winner, with 21 points, and still the all-time points leader of this program, Mr. Arthur Hurst. Congratulations, Sir Paris. That was a great argument that you made. The only difference why it goes to Arthur is because he talked about the fairness that other players would feel or not feel had he gotten in. And again, like you said, a guy like Patrick Mahomes or a guy like Tom Brady looks at this guy and is like, he hasn't even done a 15th of what I've done. That's the argument that resonated with me. But Arthur, go ahead and give your winning speech. You got 15 seconds.
Hey, man, I ain't going to say much. Again, Paris is always a great battle. He got me, 2 of those 3 rounds, so I knew I had to bring it in this one. But nah, man, Paris, hell of a job. As always, love competing against you, dog.
Yes, sir. I'll always be here.
I think Paris, you two are like the weekly locks almost. So
basically.
Yep. So next week, you two will duke it out again, and hopefully it's we get at least one more person in there, so it's not a versus.
And we the newbies too. So it's fun
sure.
against one another.
And they're the newbies. But folks, this has been another 8 o'clock spot. You'll see us again next week, Tuesday. I am Alfred Parsard Jr. Hold on, we got one last comment. Oh, Clint Alexander, great job, host. Good show. Oh, thank you, sir. It's my first time, and it won't be my last time. Bryson, who? No, I'm just playing. Shout out to Bryson Carver from the Carving Up podcast, and we'll be back on here next week. And everybody, have a good night and be safe. All right, we're off.